it's a tough time for the business of food at the moment.
Good morning, Tim. Yes, it is. It's, I think the restaurant industry before all this is something that always struggles anyway. I think a lot of restaurants struggle to make a profit. 2-3% profit is not a lot nowadays. So it'll be interesting what happens after this. I think we might even lose up to 30-40% of restaurants that won't open after this this tragedy that's happening to the world.
We're seeing a lot of restaurants, a lot of people that work in the industry get creative with takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot, and I think there's a lot that can do well out of it. There's also a lot that perhaps can't, and that's probably location and things like that. Don't forget these people have still got labour costs to pay and rent to pay when they stay open as well. So, if that brings in more money and profit, that's fantastic. But I'm not one that, I think it's important. The way I'm looking at things is preserving our cash for when we get the green light to reopen, and then just go out guns blazing. So sometimes these smaller places doing, the takeaways perhaps can be losing money as well. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess.
Luke, you've been as much as an entrepreneur as a chef the past 20 years. You've already started working on the whole idea of a team to get into the recovery stage for this industry.
Yeah, we've got a program called Appetite for Excellence, which is a national awards program in Australia. Now, I've been speaking to some great minds in this country, from tourism to aviation and people like that, who are helping me form this group. And what we need to do, we need to start thinking now, and not a week before we're told that we can open restaurants. But we need to put a plan in place with tourism and Restaurant and Caterers Association and people like that, and government, how we can kickstart the restaurant business, not just my restaurants, not just small cafes or pubs or things like that, because I've got a bit of a concern that people are going to rush back into restaurants. The first night we're all open again, I'm sure there's going to be a big party. But after that, I do worry about the long term of restaurants. And a lot of restaurants might go into opening as it was before we closed. But, we've got to be careful with costs and food wastage and things like that. So it's almost, I see it as a slow start, but also the government, who are doing a great job, by the way, to do some great things and to take some initiatives. We can do some advertising campaigns to get people back into these cafes, small restaurants, local restaurants as well. And because this flow-on effect, Tim, as you know, it's from restaurants to chefs to wait people, it's to the producers to the suppliers. And don't forget, all our suppliers have been affected since, bushfires, drought, etc. So this is just a huge roll-on effect. Australia will come back. My glass is always half full. And we will come back fighting. The restaurant industry will come back fighting. And we'll be a different industry. We'll be focused on our food, our teams more, and things like that. So to me, this is a little refresh and a restart for everyone in our business.
Well, it's an area that we lead the world in, and it's a big part of the Australian culture. How can people watching today get involved? Basically, when the green light goes to get back to restaurants, if you can afford it and you've got the time, get in there and have a nice meal.
Well, I think that's it. And you can see it with the cafes now and people going to get their takeaway coffees and things like that, which is fantastic. But it's when as you said, when we open, the restaurant business also needs to be smart. We need to come up with ideas that are going to get people back. And we're conscious that money it may be an issue for some to dining. I think we might lose all, or if not some, of the corporate dining, the expense accounts that were entertaining of events and functions and weddings and things we were doing. So I think those sorts of things we've got to look into and be smarter in how we get people back. Because I think people are going to be a little bit concerned about getting into a group again in the early stages.
Yeah, and people will be surprised by the amount of, you articulated it just a little earlier on, the amount of people that this affects, not just big, wealthy restaurant owners, university students, people trying to just make their way in the industry. It's a huge industry.
It's massive. And I see the hospitality business part of tourism, part of, we're showcasing Australia to the world, which we have done. We've got so many great chefs in this country, from Peter Gilmore to the Guy Grossies, all those sorts of people who do good things for our industry. And we do work closely with Tourism Australia, and we have done for years, all of us as a group. So I think this is going to be a good start for us to get out there, wave the Aussie flag, wave what we do with produce and great food, and get people back into jobs. And this is this group I'm trying to form that want to do that. Because we want people to come back into the business, and we want more young chefs to come into cooking. Our business has been through some ups and downs, obviously, the industry with wages and things like that. But it's time to move on from that, and we're going to fix that, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. But they made those sort of points with wage problems and issues like that. That may have scarred young people or young parents to put their kids into our industry. But we're going to fix that, because our industry is amazing. When all this is fixed up, you'll be able to travel the world, cook in great places, and meet great people. And that's what the hospitality business is about, whether it's in the kitchen or at the front of house, either or.